Yo, what's going on, everybody? It's the Reformation Keegan, and I'm here for another comic analysis that I think has become pretty synonymous with my channel. So, today we're going to be looking at Jeff Loeb and Tim Sale's Spider Man Blue. So, this was released between 2002 and early 2003. It covers 6 issues, and it's basically like a recounting of Gwen Stacy's death and how it affects Peter. So I know, obviously, in the canon, Gwen Stacy does end up getting killed, and this is kind of like a different form of retelling of that, and how Peter has to live with it and has to live through it. So it was really well done. Jeff Loeb is one of my favorite writers. And Tim Sale has grown on me as one of my favorite artists ever, because I think his art in this is some of his best work, and I'll show you momentarily. But from a literature point of view, I don't want to look at this as a review of the work because you already get a lot of that on YouTube anyway, and I know that's kind of become my slogan. However, I want to look at some of the literary elements that Jeff Loeb possesses in this. So obviously, comics are multimodal, which means they are told in more than one way. It's not just through linguistics, and it's not just through images, but you get both, which is multimodality. So Jeff Loeb and Tim Sale are probably my favorite pairing because I think Tim Sale's art really rhetorically impacts the writing that Jeff Loeb does. So if you've ever read Batman the Long Halloween, Superman for All Seasons, etc., you know what I'm talking about. But I had never read Spider-Man Blue, and to be quite frank with you, I haven't read a ton of Spider-Man because I'm usually more of a DC guy, and that's not because I choose to be a DC guy. It's just that DC complements more of what I look for. However, I do like reading Marvel when the story is there. So I knew that this was coming out in trade again, so I pulled the trigger and picked it up because I know anytime Jeff Loeb and Tim Sale are together, or were together, it's going to be great. So I'm really excited to look at this. So what Jeff Loeb does in Spider-Man Blue is he looks at things through a flashback. So Peter Parker is looking through his romantic relationship with Gwen Stacy as a flashback. And rhetorically, a flashback will incorporate themes of pathos, which is used for rhetorical effect to persuade your audience, and also through nostalgia, which is also kind of another form of pathos because nostalgia runs off of emotion. So that's what Peter is running off here. So we see Peter um, basically serving us an anecdote. And this is a multifaceted anecdote because usually an anecdote is just one story, one tale. But to me, Jeff Loeb possesses this as one tale throughout 6 issues. And obviously you have some intertextuality here throughout the Green Goblin and his role with Gwen Stacy. So like I'll look quickly here, but Tim Sale does a really good job at drawing a lot of these villains, like the Green Goblin. So, for example, right here, I think, and Tim Sale really likes to have the faces up close, which I think rhetorically shows that pathos and that emotion that Jeff Loeb is trying to get through. And you can even see right from the beginning, we have a really nice illustration in blue of Peter. And the blue boxes are modern day retellings of this flashback. So this is Peter in the present tense telling us what's happening. And I think the blue is a good rhetorical aspect of that because sometimes blue, the color blue, will indicate coldness and numbness to an event. And Peter, it's almost therapeutic for Peter to be telling this romantic tragedy of his first ever love, aka Gwen Stacy. So, he says something along the lines of, okay, he says, okay, where do I begin? I'd write this all down, but there's a reason why I'm a photographer and not, well, you see, I've come to believe that things have to get really, really bad before they can get good. Not even really, really good, although I wouldn't mind some of that. So, you're already kind of getting his tone from the get-go. And his tone is going to be that this isn't easy for him to do, but he's doing it for his own betterment and for his own therapy. And by this time, he's already married to Mary Jane Watson. But Jeff Loeb tells the story of how Spider-Man goes from Gwen to Mary, because this is a lot of Peter's college life, and we see that when Harry wants them to room together, but then Peter's kind of a little apprehensive on that. So you're not just getting the romantic tragedy, but you're getting Peter's college life, his relationship with Aunt May, who's presented as a lot older in this. So you're getting a lot of multimodal and multifaceted narratives within one. But also Tim Sale's drawings in this are fantastic. And I like that he has MJ and Gwen be strikingly different in terms of their appearance, because they both have their individual personalities, and I think Tim Sale's drawing really complements that as well. But his drawings in this were really great. I'm trying to find a couple right now that I think are very suitable, because like this narrative, it's telling a love story, but it's not just a love story of Gwen and Peter, it's Peter's love story to himself. And I know that sounds selfish, but it's not, because Jeff Loeb is really well versed in writing stuff with sorrow and, like I said, nostalgia earlier. And that's partly too because Jeff in his own life has undergone a lot of strife regarding sorrow and loss. So when the author can make those personal relations and exude pathos on their own throughout inspiration from things that have happened in their real life, they can really communicate it well in prose form, and that's what Jeff Loeb does here. So I'll get back to that in a second, but to go to the pictures, like I think, see, like right here, Peter and MJ, and you can see on the faces just how much emotion is there that Tim Sale accentuates. And this really, like I said, complements Jeff Loeb's own personal experiences with tragedy, and basically creates a really great narrative where the author can communicate what they're feeling inside as well as the character. Because a lot of these stories are just pseudonyms of an author, which I think is really well done here. And I want to get to the conclusion, because this is all a flashback, and this is all Peter talking about previous events in anecdotal form. But I think the conclusion really reigns well, because you have MJ coming back into the fold, and then Peter says, "Are you listening?" Because you gotta remember, all of these people, they hung out when they were younger, but Gwen was the first love, and then MJ comes in after, and she's kind of the last one for Peter, because now they're happily together. But that was at the expense of Gwen passing away, unfortunately. But I think the ending is one of the best I've seen in comics, because you have Peter reminiscing, and then you have all of the tapes of Gwen, and these tapes are probably him recording, obviously, but also flashbacks of them together that he probably kept. And you can see right here the role of them happily being together. And Mary Jane seems very okay with this as well. So I think this is a perfect ending, because it shows a decisive conclusion to this. And it's really emotional. It's really well done. And I think that the color scheme of it too really adds to it, because when it's in the past, it gets colorful, but then in the present, it's a little more gloomy, because you're having to go back on something that was very traumatic to you and to your psyche. So that's me giving an English literature's point of view on Spider-Man Blue. Like I said, it's not a stereotypical review. It's just going through and looking at things from a different perspective, which I tried to do. Let me know what you guys think, because there was a lot of good stuff here. There was a lot of pathos. There was a lot of intertextuality, a lot of nostalgia, a lot of really good things in this. So if you've ever undergone any loss with any individual before, I think books like this will relate to you, because I know I have, but I know also a lot of other people around me have too. So books that really pull at the heartstrings through pathos will emotionally influence you going forward. And most of all, don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe. We're on the road to 500 subscribers, and I need 3,000 watch hours to become a YouTube partner, and then I can put out more videos like this for you and better content for you going forward. So please hit that subscribe button, leave a like, please, and if you can, and also feel free to interact, comment, suggest something that I should review, suggest something I should read if I haven't read it already. I have many trades, and I might actually have what you're suggesting, and then I can read it sooner and then get it out on YouTube for you. So until then, I'll see you soon.